Welcome to this lecture on how to use Moodle. And in this lecture, I will be covering the very important topic on assessment, right? So, in the online mode, students would, watch lectures, and we do not know if they actually have watched all the lectures. So it is very important to have some sort of a weekly quiz or some assignment or something like that, which can be used to monitor their progress, right? So a very useful feature that Moodle provides is the feature of setting up a quiz which can be corrected by a machine, right? And Moodle will be able to do the evaluation by itself if the questions are set in a particular manner, okay, which which enables machine correctability. So I am going to now talk about how to set various types of quizzes that can be machine corrected. Okay, so as usual, let's now assume that I want to add a quiz, right? So I don't have a topic there, so I do turn editing on, right? So and then I come down and I add topics, and I will say add one topic, and topic 15 I will simply edit by clicking that pen there and make it quiz, right? So I want to add my quizzes to this particular section, just like I did in my course here. So you see I've added a weekly quiz. I had a quiz every week, right? And for the 5 weeks that I taught online, it I had one quiz set up for that is machine correctable. Okay, so let me now go and add an activity or a resource, and I'm going to choose a type quiz. Okay, so let me call it quiz 1. So let's assume that you are also going to give weekly quizzes. You teach something for 1 week, and then you give a quiz for the first week, second quiz for the second week, and so on, right? So quiz uh, about uh, week 1, right? Uh, a quiz about week 1. Okay, so let's just keep it. I'm not going to display it now. This timing is very important. Okay, so remember this, the quiz need not be taken by students synchronously, right? You could also do that. For example, you can say open the quiz and just close the quiz, right? So it will be available only for, it will be available for that entire duration. So if you want to set a quiz for 1 hour, you start and say, maybe I will just say 2050 and close the quiz at, let's say I want to set the quiz for next week, right? uh, or uh, maybe 31st July, right? And let's say I want to open it at 9 a.m. Okay, so I'll enable this. Then you have to close the quiz also, because you don't want students to take it indefinitely, right? I could again close it on 31st July at maybe 12, right? At 12 noon. Okay, and now the point is the quiz will be available for this period, but it doesn't mean that the duration of the quiz is this long. You could set that limit separately. So typically what you would do, right, in the online mode is you keep the quiz open for about 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, right? So it is open on, one day, it closes the next day night at 23:59, and the students can take the quiz anytime in that window, but once they start, they must finish it within 20 minutes, let's say, or 60 minutes. They can do it anytime in these 48 hours, but they must ensure that they finish it in 16 minutes, 60 minutes. In this example, I am saying that they can take it anytime in this 3 hour window, but they have to finish it in 60 minutes from the time they start. Okay, and when the time expires, you just say open attempts are submitted automatically. Okay, now grade, you could, now if you want to, for example, allow multiple attempts, this is something that you might want to, take care of and look at very carefully. If it's a very serious exam, you have to set this to only one attempt. Okay, if they fail, if they by mistake submit that attempt or something like that, then they have to get back to you and you have to do something else about it, right? But by default you should not allow multiple attempts unless you are absolutely sure about it. So layout, you just say for every question you make a new page, or if you want to put everything on one page, that's up to you, right? Now review options, this is a very important aspect. Okay, point is, you do not want the student to be able to review, right? During the attempt they should be able to review, that is in the 60 minutes that they are taking the quiz, they should be able to review all their questions, okay, correct or not, or they should be able to go back and forth. But immediately after the attempt you should just say no, do not show anything, do not show any information, right? Later, while the quiz is open, what does this mean? So the quiz is open from 9 to 12, but the duration of the quiz is 60 minutes. So let's assume that the student started the quiz at 9:30. That means the quiz is going to go on till 10:30 for that student. At 10:30, right? What does it mean, right? So this is what it means. Immediately after the attempt means at 10:30, what does the student see? After submitting the quiz, after submitting the answers, right? Now later, while the quiz is still open, that is between 10:30 and 12 in this case, what do? You still do not want the students to see anything because other students are taking the exam, right? You do not want the student to go and tell the others what the answer is or whatever it is, right? After the quiz is closed, you can choose to allow the student to see the marks or whether it is correct or whatever it is. Especially if it's a weekly quiz, I would encourage you enable this option. But if it's an end semester exam or something like that, then I say you even disable all these options. Okay, and yeah, now appearance, extra risk. Now these are all okay. You just leave it as it is, no problem, right? And no restriction on access and nothing like that. So you just save and return to course. Okay. So what does this do? It has just simply created a quiz for you. Okay, between 31st July 9 a.m. and 31st July 12 p.m. Okay, but there are absolutely no questions that have been added. So if you edit quiz, it will allow you and it will bring you to the page where you can start adding questions. So if you click this add here, you can actually add questions. But I would recommend that you do not add questions directly from here, right? It is very important to use categories in questions so that it helps you sort the questions and choose them very carefully at a later point. Okay. Now, how do you handle categories in questions? So you scroll down, administration, and then you see that there's something called a question bank. You click on that. Now you see categories here. Okay. So for example, in this case, we are now setting a quiz for week 1. Okay, which means that I'm going to set questions for the first week, the material that was covered in the first week, and so all the questions that I set can be categorized into week 1 questions, for example, right? So I'm going to say category. I already created a category like that, but let me just do it again for just to demonstrate it here. Week 1, right? And you could, for example, copy paste the topics that you taught in week 1 if you wish. Okay, for example, these are just the list of topics that were taught in week 1. So I'm going to say add category. Okay, so you go scroll down and you will see this information, right? Week 1 0. This bracket 0 means there are no questions in that, right? You click here. Okay, and then now you can start adding questions. Okay, so adding questions to the question bank does not mean that you have added questions to the quiz. They are two separate entities, and you have to later go configure the quiz to take questions from this question bank. Okay, so let me say create new question. You see that there are different choices here. If you want the question to be machine correctable, then it should be multiple choice, true or false, right? Or numerical. These three have been extensively used. We know they work. You are free to experiment with matching short answers and all that, but we recommend that you simply stick to numerical, multiple choice, and true or false, right? So let's assume I want to create a true or false question. Okay, now you give this question name something meaningful, so that by just looking at the label you should be able to tell what question it is. This is very similar to a label that you add in LaTeX to a section or an equation or whatever. By looking at that label you should be able to tell what that equation is or what that section is, right? So let me say true or false, uh, SRAM, right? It's a true or false question. It's on SRAMs and you know size. Okay, in the interest of time I'm going to just copy and paste the text. Okay, so I'm going to create a true or false. It is possible to compile a complete uh, it is possible to write a complete VBLS voltage into the cell if VPP is increased accordingly, right? So the answer, correct answer is false. If it is true you have to set it to true. By default it will be false, right? And after that you just say save changes. Okay, so what you see is now there is one question. Now if you click on this plus symbol it will show you the question, how the question would look in the exam, right? So answer is false. If I want to test whether it's correct or not, submit and finish, it will tell you that the correct answer is false and therefore my attempt is correct. This is how you verify that it is the question appears correctly for the students, right? So now I'll go ahead and add another question, right, which is a multiple choice question, MCQ question. Okay, and so let me call it MCQ SRAM SRAM size. Again, this is a multiple choice question. Again, I'm going to go ahead and copy the text from here. Okay, so in a micro sense I have the threshold voltage, some question that involves certain you know uh, parameters and stuff like that, and now I need to give choices, right? So I'm also going to copy the choices from here. Okay, so here you say that there is only one answer. Okay, and you can also shuffle the choices. What does shuffling choices mean? It means that when two students take it, right, and they click on this question from the quiz, right, the set of order of choices will be different for both students. Okay, if you unselect this, then whatever order you give here now will appear as is for the student as well, right? So you just type your first choice, right? uh, then you type your second choice, whatever it is, right? Let me just copy all of that from my earlier thing, right? And let me put it here. And okay, so it turns out that the third option I'm entering here is the correct answer. So you have to set the correct grade to be 100% here. If it's a multiple choice question and only one correct answer is there, then you have to tell Moodle that this is the correct answer by simply saying that the answer is correct 100% for this particular thing. I'll tell you why, where you could use non 100% grading for certain choices, right? So let me now copy this, right? uh, and then you say this is again none, and then you're done. So you can say save changes. Okay, you come back here, you can see the MCQ question, you see this, the answer is like this. Now sometimes this ABCD might be irritating, you do not want that. So what you do is you come back here and you click on this settings, edit, right? And there you can say number choices, you say no numbering. Okay, and the answer is it will still function at low speeds, right? So by the way, if just to show you here, right, I go here and let's say I make a change in my answer, right? uh, will not function, full stop, right? So I will save changes and continue editing. I don't have to come out. I just click on preview, and then it will still function at low speeds, submit and finish. This is the correct answer, right? And yeah, so you can do start again if you want to verify that. So now you see that when I do start again, the order of choices has got changed, right? So this submit and finish, your answer is incorrect. Okay, so things are working well. So that's an MCQ question. Now let's say I want to copy a question, right, and just edit it, right? Let's say two questions are similar, I just want to copy and edit. In that case, you can simply copy this question like this. Okay, so this is, I'm going to call it an MSQ question. Okay, SRAM size. So here an MSQ means that the correct answer is more than one choice. So here I will go and say multiple answers allowed. Okay, this is just an example. It's I know that there's only one correct answer. Let's say that choice 1 and choice 3 are the correct answers. You say this is 50%, right? And choice 3 is also 50%. So it has to add up to 100%. Which two choices? So if the student selects only choice 1, then he'll get only 50% of the marks. If he selects choice 1 and 3, right? If he or she selects choice 1 and 3, then you get all the marks, right? Now, you could choose to put in negative marks, especially for multiple select, because otherwise the students could simply select all choices blindly, right? And they'll get positive marks always. So you can say if you select this answer incorrectly, you get minus 50%, and if you select this, you get minus 50%. Okay, say save changes. Okay, and then you're down here, MSQ, SRAM size, and so on. Okay, then you can select multiple choices and see what happens. Your answer, it will tell you. Okay, so you can go ahead and play around with these questions. So these are the three type of questions. The fourth type is a numerical answer question. Okay, so here I will copy this big text, right, and I'll say create new question, and I'll say numerical. So here I will call it NAT EDRAM. Okay, and I will paste this. So first of all, uh, okay, so it turns out, so let me close these windows. The answer here is 561. Okay, answer is 561. It just turns out to be 561. I have to give a tolerance because there could be a numerical accuracy error. So you say 561.5 to 590, 559.5, right, is an acceptable answer, and you say 100%. Now sometimes you could, allow multiple answers. For example, if it's 561, it's something, but maybe if the student got twice this, right? Uh, you know, maybe 1132 or something like that. Then you might want to allow some 50% of the marks. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. 1132. You could say again plus minus 0.5, and you could say 50% of the marks. This is just like giving partial marks in case the you don't want to grade the answer as just outright wrong. You could choose to give partial marks if you want. Okay, so now I will say save changes, continue editing. Okay, and of course now the problem is when you click on preview, you see that whole thing is appearing as pure text, which is not nice. Maybe I want to introduce latex symbols in this. How do you do that? You simply do backslash open bracket v underscore t bracket. Okay, so this backslash open bracket is like dollar, right? Inline text latex symbols is what you're going to put in, right? Now again here I will do the same thing, w by l, right, and mu n c underscore bracket ox slash u, right, and then this. Okay, now you could go ahead and modify the rest of the question in a similar way. Save changes, continue editing, right, as usual, and then you do preview. So now you see that okay, you got to, okay, so now you see that all the symbols that we had changed, right, have got modified to a latex script, right? W by L equal to 2, mu and C ox equal to, and it of course tells you there's something in red, which means it's an error. What is the problem there? I have to separate this mu and A, right? So you save again, then you do preview. uh, oh, slash mu, sorry. Yeah, mu and C ox and so on, right? So it is possible to put in LaTeX as well, right? And we will deal with how to import LaTeX quiz into Moodle in a separate session. Okay, for now you should know how to do inline LaTeX as well here. Okay, remember you could also do LaTeX symbols even in the choices. For example, let me go to this MSQ question. Okay, and let's say the transfer ratio, let's call that transfer ratio as something, you know, slash tau. Okay, so you could also do it like this, right? And yeah, transfer ratio tau again. So you say save changes, continue editing, you do preview, and you see that now tau is appearing in the options very correctly. Okay, so this is how you set questions, various types of questions, namely true or false, multiple choice, multiple select, numerical answers with inline LaTeX text as well. Okay, so you can go ahead and try most of the LaTeX things will work, except some special cases like ticks, figures, and all that will not work, right? So if you have to add a figure, you have to do that manually. Okay, so for example, you just click on this thing here, and you will have to do a specific insert figure, right, by clicking on this insert or edit image. You click on this and then you select an image from here, and then you go ahead and put it in into the question. Okay,